Hey guys, Coach here. Welcome to this week's video and podcast. I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes, stopping by, and seeing if I can't help you out on some landscape lighting problems that you or someone you know may be having. This is going to be a down and dirty, very easy to understand, and may be able to send you out in the yard this weekend to check it out and fix it without any major costs involved. Let's get started. I'm glad you're here. Hey guys, Coach here. Don't forget, you can be inspired, but you must be informed in order to do a very good DIY landscape project. Hey, welcome back. Hey, if you take a look, there's really about 4 points of failure in a lighting system. Now, I have installed, replaced, and repaired hundreds of lighting systems over my landscape contracting career, and it boils down to about 4. So what are they? The transformer, the wiring, the fixture, or the bulb. Generally boils down to those 4. Now, for a classic example, if you have a lighting system that has, we'll say 12 fixtures and 12 lights on in the backyard at night. But now, maybe after this winter or the past couple of seasons, all of a sudden you've got that light out over there, that light over there, and this one here tends to flicker. Now, for me, it tells me that your transformer is probably not the issue, unless you have multiple wire cable leads coming out of the transformer. We'll cover that in a minute. But it tells me that there is voltage that is going to some of the lights, but not all of them. And the very first thing that I would check in a situation like that would be the bulbs. Go out there, pull the bulb out, and look at it. Now, if you're still running incandescent bulbs, the older style bulbs, you'll notice that they're bad as soon as you pull them out, usually. They'll be discolored, kind of like the old flash bulbs in a camera. And I'm kind of dating myself there a little bit, but it's true. That's kind of what they look like. If you have them perfectly clear and you can pull them gently out of the fixture and look at them, you can see the filament going across horizontally in the bulb. And if that's broken, okay, that's kind of an anomaly, but it still means the bulb is out. Now, if you want to go one step further, if you have a uplight or an accent light, or you have a path light, you can generally disassemble the hood. And if you have a multimeter, you can turn your system on and put the multimeter down inside the fixture connection points, one on one side and one on the other, and it'll give you a reading whether you have some voltage there or not. If you do not, then it's probably not the bulb. But if you do, chances are it was the bulb. So let's go over those 4 again. Transformer, wire, fixture, bulb. For another scenario, let's just do a start to finish. Let's say that daylight savings time, you went out and you adjusted your clock and you reset the timer so that it's really accurate. And now that night when you turned it on, or when you have it scheduled to go on, nothing goes on. Nothing. You have no lighting in the yard at all. Now we have a little different issue. If it worked before daylight savings time and now it does not, we have something that we can start checking from the beginning or the origin of the system out to where the bulbs are and the fixtures. Most likely, we're going to check our electrical source first. The source where you plug in the transformer. We want to make sure that that's working. Starting at the breaker in the house, yes, it's on. Going to the plug that the transformer is plugged into, multimeter, what do you have? If you have voltage there, then we know it's not the source or the plug. Now we go to the transformer. If we open up the transformer door, we generally should, depending on what transformer you have, we should have a mechanical timer or maybe a digital timer on there. And if so, can you hear the mechanical timer? You know, the little tick, 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 tick that they do? They're basically like a Christmas tree timer. Or if you have a digital one, you can put your ear to the transformer and you can hear the transformer hum. You can literally hear that piece of electrical engineering, generally on the top or the middle, that you're not going to be able to put your fingers into because it's all sealed up because of high voltage. But you should be able to hear it taking that 120 volt current and shoving it out at 12 to 17 volts, something like that. So what do you have there? Now, if you have that, you can hear it and you hear the timer. Now we're going to go down the next part, and then we're going to go to the breaker. Usually on it, it'll either be a push button or a actual little switch, and we want to make sure that that is in the on position. Now, if you check that and you didn't hear a buzz, but now you do, then turn your system on and go check your lights. Have they been repaired? Are they working now? If not, let's go back and check the lugs. The lugs are where the cables come into the transformer and attach to the common lug and then one of the regular lugs. Now, if you have loose wiring, let's just hypothetically say you have only one wire that leads and serves your particular landscape system. Do you have a good tight connection on those lugs? Generally with a screwdriver, you put them in, or the previous owner put them in, or a contractor like me put them in, and we put them up inside the lug, and then there's a set screw that we screw in, or a toggle that we toggle down on it, and it should be a nice tight connection. You should not be able to jiggle it. You cannot pull it free. Check that. If one was loose or dislodged for some reason, we twist those back together, put it up in the lug, tighten that lug down, and now turn the system on and go look. Did that fix the problem? Yes or no? Okay, it did not. So from that point on, now it gets a little trickier because for the most part, your cabling is next. And cabling tends to leave the transformer and leave whatever source where the transformer is in. If it's on the side of the wall, if it's in the garage, or wherever, now we have to start going to the cable of where it is. Things that I have found with cable that causes failures is connection points at fixtures, rodents that tend to come in and want to chew the rubbery plastic covering. Gophers do it sometimes, mice do it, rats do it. Don't ask me why, they're bored. That is some of the things that I have seen. So if you go to your very first fixture and you carefully dig around the fixture, expose the wiring, what does the wiring look like? Are the fixtures connected? Because at that first fixture, most likely you have not only the incoming cable, generally two-prong, two side-by-side cables, you have your fixture cable that is going to come in, and you have your downline cable coming in. So you generally have two bigger ones, total of 4 wires, and 2 littler ones for the fixture. So it's a total of 6 wires that have to be put together in order for that current to serve that fixture and then go downstream to the next fixture and the next fixture. The only place where you're going to have 4 electrical leads to connect is your very last fixture on that system. Now, if you put in the system, you should know where the cabling is, or reasonably know, and you know that it's going to be fairly close or right at the base of each fixture. So now, a little bit of due diligence, you got to start checking. That first fixture is often a key indicator on how well the system was put together. If you put it together, you should have some type of grease sealed or soldered and grease sealed type of connections that are very, very moisture and weather resistant. If you dig that up and you find that all 6 of them are not together, there's something wrong, then we want to reconnect them, or take your multimeter and touch with your 2 leads on your two leads that come from the transformer. Touch those 2 together and see what voltage you have. If you have no voltage at that spot, then you got to backtrack. At least you know that first fixture is not getting voltage, and it's time to go back towards the transformer. Sometimes this is really easy, sometimes it's not so easy. If you put the system in and you just laid it along the edge of your walkway, and then you mulch the bed, and so it's just underneath some bark, now it's time to gently pull it up and trace it back. And 90+% of the time, you're going to find some type of break. And what I used to find once in a while is a shovel break, where you may have been digging in the garden bed, or the kids were digging in the garden bed, or something happened that caused a sharp implement to go into the ground and cut one or both of the wires. If you find it, pretty easy fix. You may need a little short piece of splicer wire to put them back together, because if it's cut, you're going to need just a little bit of length to create a new splice. Or you can do a soldering job if you want to do a soldering job and do some heat shrink around it, and you'll be good to go. So did that fix the problem? If you put that back together, went to your first fixture and fixed it all up, turned your system on, do you have lights again? Yeah? Perfect. But what if it's no? If it's no there, we want to go to the next fixture. And depending on how it was put in, you may have had a single line, and then the first fixture and a single line and another fixture. Then you teed off and went to some other fixtures, maybe under some trees or something. And there's a couple of split offs. And it's basically a multimeter dig and search. That's basically what it turns out to be. And see what actually happened. Most of the time, depending on the size of your system, I would say the number one cause is bulbs, especially incandescents. If you can, switch them all over to LEDs tomorrow, and you will have 10 times the shelf life, 10 times the service with an LED bulb than you will be an incandescent. Now, let's say you've done everything. You've done it all. This was not your install. Then you have to determine the age of the install. If this was something that a contractor did for you 12 months ago, you need to pick up the phone and you need to give them a shout and say, hey, the lighting system that I paid a few $1,000s for ain't working, pal. When can you come out and diagnose the problem and check it out? I've done all I can do at this point. If they don't, well, there's always Yelp reviews, I guess. I used to guarantee all my stuff by state law for 4 years, and I never had a callback for lighting. But there is basically your 4 things that are going to be your problem-solving solutions for your particular low voltage landscape lighting situation. Transformer, if you have no voltage and you cannot get it to be revived, maybe time to replace that transformer, especially if it's old. What I used to find is little shorts and problems because of bug infestation, spiders, spider webs, spider eggs, pincher bugs, roly-polies, other things that used to like to get up inside. So what I used to do is I used to bring in my cable through a PVC pipe and have the PVC pipe come into the transformer just a little bit, and then connect my splices into the lugs, and then I would seal that so that bugs could not come in from underneath. It won't prevent everything from coming in through the side door if it's kind of a so-so quality transformer. You want to have something that has kind of a rubber gasket on it so that it seals up pretty weather tight. But you may have to replace the transformer. The next thing was the cabling, and you may have a break in the cable. There were times when I would go for a repair or replace type of call, and I would tell the folks after an hour, I'd say, I got no idea where your cable's at. You have plenty of power at the transformer, and you have no voltage out at the first few lights. So it's somewhere wherever the cable went. And they would go, I don't know where it's at. Then I would say, then our only recourse then is to refish new wire and put a new wire or wires out to your system. So, transformer, cable, fixture. If your cable seems to be intact, your transformer's intact, the fixture itself, remember our multimeter leads? If the system's on and you have voltage, then our last thing is the bulbs. Hey, I hope this helps just a little bit. It may take a couple, 3 hours on a weekend to go out there and do a little shoveling, do a little weekend warrior electrical work. Remember, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, you can always turn it over to an electrician or a landscape contractor in your area that's familiar with low voltage lighting, and they can come out and do it for you. But for the simple cost of an inexpensive multimeter, you could probably diagnose and fix it yourself. And if you have any questions regarding that type of repair, you can always email me at youryardcoach@gmail.com. I'll be glad to get back to you rather quickly. And if you want to sit down and talk about a low voltage landscape lighting install and you're not sure exactly where to start or how to do it, hey, there's always the consultation. Hey, that's what I got for you. As always, to your guys' landscape success, I hope it helped, and I'll check you out on the next video. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos and podcasts that we have in our library. You guys take care. Bye for now. Coach here. Hey, don't forget, spring is right around the corner and your project time is looming. Make sure that you're informed and educated before you start. youryardcoach.com.